Should an AI decide your fate in court? It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But believe it or not, it's a question we have to tackle, like right now. And that's exactly what we're diving into.
So, let me ask you this, straight up. If you were on trial, who would you want deciding your fate? A human judge with all their wisdom but also all their hidden biases? Or an AI, a machine that's supposed to be perfectly objective, but, well, might just have its own set of secret bugs? This isn't just a thought experiment anymore.
You know that AI you use to write emails or chat with? Well, it's quietly slipping into our justice system. And a brand new study just put these AIs on the stand, so to speak. And let me tell you, the results are critical. Something anyone who cares about the future of law really needs to hear.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. How in the world did AI even get into the courtroom in the first place? So these things are workhorses. They can tear through huge piles of legal docs, summarize cases, even help draft arguments. But the researchers had a really simple but brilliant question. If you ask a bunch of different AIs the same legal question, do you get the same answer? The answer, it turns out, is a big, fat no.
And that brings us to the main event. The researchers basically put the AIs themselves on trial. They gathered up all the big names to see how they'd hold up. Yeah, you'll know these guys. We're talking about the big players. GPT-4 from OpenAI, Claude from Anthropic, Gemini from Google, and of course, LLaMA 3 from Meta. The whole point was to figure out if these different digital brains actually interpret the law in the same way.
Okay, this is where it gets super interesting. The researchers measured what they call cosine similarity. Don't worry, it's just a geeky way of saying how much do these AIs agree with each other. A 1 would be a perfect match. And you can see right here, GPT-4 and Claude, they're pretty close at 0.87. But then you look at LLaMA 3, it's the odd one out. Its legal thinking is just different from the rest.
And this is the big problem. The paper calls it semantic drift. And it's not just some academic term. It means that depending on which AI you ask, you could get a totally different answer to the same legal question. In a justice system that's all about consistency and precedent, well, that's a huge problem.
All right, so we know they disagree. But the researchers didn't stop there. They dug in to find out why. What are the specific ways these things are messing up? And they came up with a great name for it, algorithmic loopholes. And these aren't just one-off glitches. They are predictable, systemic flaws. Let's break down the 3 big ones.
First up, you've got omission loopholes. Think of it like a student forgetting to study a key chapter for a test. The AI just completely misses a critical law or a major court case, something that could literally change the entire outcome of a case. Poof, it's just not there.
Okay, the second one is, honestly, it's pretty scary. They're called injection loopholes. This is when the AI just makes stuff up. It will literally invent a law that doesn't exist or cite a court case that never happened to back up its argument. It's hallucinating, but it's doing it with the confidence of a seasoned lawyer.
And number 3, framing loopholes. This really gets at that consistency issue we talked about. You can ask the AI a question, then rephrase it slightly without changing the actual legal problem and get a totally different answer. I mean, think about it. That makes these systems incredibly easy to game or manipulate.
And look, this isn't just talk. The data here speaks for itself. Check out LLaMA. It's way more likely to have those injection loopholes, the ones where it just makes things up. But then you've got omission loopholes, where it misses key info. And that's a problem across the board for all of them. Each AI has its own unique way of being wrong, which is fascinating and also a little terrifying.
So if I had to give you just one number to show you how big this reliability problem is, it would be this one, 23.7%.
So what on earth does that mean? It means that almost 1 out of every 4 times just rewording a question made the AI flip its legal answer. Just let that sink in. Can you imagine that level of inconsistency in an actual courtroom?
Okay, so right now it's easy to think, whoa, AI is way too broken for this. But hang on. Before we throw the AI out of the courthouse, we have to be honest about the system we're already using.
There's this classic saying in law, right? Justice is what the judge had for breakfast. It sounds like a joke, but there's a real, documented truth behind it. Judges are human, and humans are influenced by, well, everything.
And this isn't just an anecdote. The paper brings up this incredible study where researchers found that a judge's decisions were directly tied to their food breaks. Seriously. Favorable rulings were high in the morning, dropped to almost 0 right before lunch, and then shot back up right after they ate. That's a real, powerful bias happening every single day. So here's the real takeaway. It's not about human versus machine, good versus bad. The truth is, both systems are flawed. They're just flawed in completely different ways. Humans get tired, they have biases, the AI hallucinates, and is super sensitive to how you ask a question. The key is understanding these different kinds of flaws.
So what do? We know humans are flawed. We know AI is flawed. Where do we go from here? Well, the researchers actually laid out a pretty clear roadmap.
It's basically a two-step plan. First, don't put all your eggs in one AI basket. Instead, use a bunch of different AIs and make them check each other's work. Kind of like having a panel of judges instead of just one. They call it digital collegiality. Pretty cool, right? And second, these things can't be a mystery. We need independent groups to audit and certify them, to make sure they're actually safe and reliable, before we let them anywhere near a real legal case.
And that leaves us with a really big, thought-provoking question. We know humans are flawed. We know AI is flawed. So maybe the goal shouldn't be to just replace one with the other. Maybe the real opportunity here is to ask, can we use AI, with all the right guardrails in place, to build a justice system that's actually better? One that's more consistent, more accountable, and maybe, just maybe, even more fair than anything we've ever had before.